Hey guys, this is Collin and Katie for CardsChat.com, and today we have the Stars Blowout Series Event 19H, a high-stakes 8-max Hyper Turbo. Katie, what do you think? Ace-Jack, should we play it?
I think we should play it. I don't think we should limp it.
This is really surprising to me. Wizowozo is Ol Shemian. Don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but he is a high-stakes pro, and he is working an unusual game with this early position open limp.
I guess it really doesn't look like it's Ace-Jack, to be fair.
Yes. And look at this. Aces and sevens. This is not good news.
Yeah, it's just the real potential to think Ace-Jack is like the nuts here.
Yeah, you got to think that. And I like the fact that the big blind just checks with the 9-6 of spades, takes the free flop, and aces and sevens are going to be tough to beat here. 3 outs twice.
I would have just 3-bet shove if I was a cool player, but we both know I'm a dork player.
Well, I don't think that's the case, and I think you would put in here with this 3-deuce suited in the small blind.
Oh, yeah. But you know what I would do? The limp and go.
Yes. Although that's going to be tough facing a prior raise.
Yeah.
This actually isn't the worst spot. You know, you might get it heads up with a lot of overlay, and probably nobody else involved in this hand also has 3-deuce.
That's a very good point. That is.
So here facing a 9-blind 3-bet shove, this is pretty close. I think that he could probably get away from it with the queen-jack, just because people aren't going to be jamming a lot here. The small blind is so short, people are not going to want to bust in 8th place unnecessarily.
Yeah, and UTG +1 perhaps even more significantly about to being hit by the blinds. I mean, normally it would be a call, though.
Yeah, I totally agree. You're right. There are 2 super short stacks. Also, I said 8th place, and this is an 8-max, but there are 9 people at this table.
Oh, right. That's how it goes in these tourneys sometimes.
Yeah, they do the final table of this with 1 extra player at the start.
Why is that, dude? It's so weird. Just play with 5 and 4. Is it really that much of a difference and then go to the 8?
I don't know. I definitely understand for a format like 4-max where they don't want one of the tables to be heads up. I'm not as sure for 8-max.
Yeah.
8-5 suited, good call with the odds. Kind of unusual that the hijack is raising with ace-9, a small raise, instead of just moving all in.
Yeah, that is definitely unusual here. He really is opening himself up to ICM pawnage situation where he's going to have to raise fold.
Yeah, and the small blind folds. I think he doesn't really know what to make. He thinks maybe that Xavier Patch, if that's his name, is trapping with that small raise. So it actually works out pretty well.
Well, I would have shoved if I was the small blind.
Well, that's you know what? I think that would have worked.
Yeah.
That would have worked.
Yep.
End of Red Bull Blue.
After the pseudo straight didn't actually win. It looked
Yes.
like a straight, but was it a straight? Probably not.
Now, this is actually pretty close. I said 8-5 suited should have called in the last hand, but that is not factoring in that the big blind is now all in this hand, all in automatically. But he also would have had to post 2 ante, so pretty close spot, and really came down to a folding war between the two.
Yeah, I think it was the right decision to go with the 5-8 suited, but definitely offsuit I would have folded. But I think suited is too strong.
Yeah, suited is a pretty nice low boost here. For example, this queen-jack suited, I think, is too tight of a fold from under the gun.
Yeah. Maybe he's just not used to the 8-max dynamic, though, now that they've gone down to seven-handed, right?
Yeah, he knows.
He knows 8-max perfectly.
But no idea when it comes to 7 players.
Yeah.
Now, button makes a good fold. I think small blind just has to jam any 2 cards here to pressure the big blind.
Yeah, definitely. Mandatory shove here.
Now, would you call off with king-9 suited?
I would call off here.
I like that. You know what? So normally, like, that's a pretty clear call.
Snap call normally, but with ICM, it's closer. But I just think that the small blind is going to be shoving pretty much. I think it's a profitable call with king-9 suited. It's not one I'm thrilled with, but would you call?
Is really close. You know what? You gave a good answer because you actually answered the question. I'm just like, well, it's close. You know, I don't know.
Great. Yeah, so you could say that for almost every poker hand until you make a really dumb comment. It doesn't work out. Like, it's not close at all. It's clearly the wrong decision.
That's how you make a good poker video. You don't commit to anything.
You know it's
like,
close.
I don't know. It could be. It could be.
All right, we've got a min-raise UTG here with the sevens.
Yeah, he could have jammed and he could have min-raised. He's deep. He's 20 blinds effective with a player to his left. So I think that jamming is normally the way I go with this kind of hand that's unexploitable to shove. In other words, you're going to make a profit shoving it, but you don't want to have to call off somebody else's 3-bet shove.
Yeah. Cash players would probably be really confused with starting that off with, well, he's deep, i.e. 20 blinds, 20 blinds, but in a hyper turbo, 20 blinds is deep.
Yeah, that is funny. It is all context for sure.
Yep.
A little bit of a light jam here with the 7. Another one where normally, if you don't have any ICM effects, you would definitely move all in here. Here, I think this is pretty close. And Ace-10 has to call off as the short stack.
I like this shove. I do agree it's close to me. The player really looks like they're playing for first, and I respect that.
I think actually you got to be right, because a cool player on the button would be crippled if he called and lost.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So he can actually apply some pressure.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good shove. I mean, again, a situation where normally it's a very obvious, trivial shove, but ICM rears its head in these spots.
Yes, well said. A good metaphor.
I should have said rears its head like the Loch Ness Monster. Then it becomes a little bit better. It's a little bit more visual.
Yeah, that would have been better. You're right.
Too bad. All right.
So 10-8 suited pretty close. It's a hand that plays well. I think he could jam that.
I actually finally am going to say fold.
You disagree, man. Literally every
I know,
spot
that is true.
This final
is
table,
easy.
it's too much.
All right, I think because of the cutoff and the big blind stack, I don't like that as a shove.
The 8-7?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to disagree. You got to
No, the 8-7 I like. No, I'm sorry. A cool player where you said he should have shoved. I'm disagreeing with that. I'm not. I agree with you about the small blind shove.
With literally anything.
No.
Now this game has stopped for a second. I don't know if that's something to do with the replay, but let's pull up the lobby. I actually wanted to do that. And so we can show you guys exactly what is going on here. I've kind of jumbled the finish positions to avoid spoilers. So $530 buy-in. And this one was a very fast structure. A lot of top players in it. And over 25K for first. So pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty neat. And how long did this tournament take to play out? And we see I was interested in that. So 2 hours and 15 minutes about.
Yes.
That's a pretty sweet hourly for the winner.
Yeah, that is. It's definitely a pretty nice hourly.
Yep.
And I don't know if they're discussing deal or not. Let's go ahead and move ahead slightly in this.
Oh, we moved right ahead to a good spot for Watt.
Yeah, now look at that. He makes a non-all-in, all-in. He raises half his stack. Do you think Katie's doing that because people might think it looks weak?
I guess that's the rationale, but I think in general, I don't know about you, but when I get aces in a spot like this, I tend to get really bad ideas that I have to monitor. And to me, not knowing anything about this guy directly, it looks like a really bad idea because he's like, oh, nobody's going to think I have aces if I 3x. And in fact, you want to make sure you're doing exactly what you would do if you were at the bottom of your range.
Yeah, but it's such a bad idea that's actually a good idea.
No, that's the bad part of your brain trying to convince you to spew.
No, honestly, check this out. Because what's going on is that normally you make a all-in with the weak hand, and now he's doing with a strong hand, so people are not going to put that together.
That's starting to sound like a limerick when you wouldn't stop saying all in. I don't know.
All right, all shimmy on the button now. Pocket kings, nothing to do besides jam that for 11 blinds.
Well, you could 3x, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the right move, of course, to just go ahead and shove. Andre P is, I don't think actually going to call here.
Yeah, he's just Hollywooning some, but a nice raise from the hijack to apply pressure into shorter stacked opponents.
Yeah, I think that gets through a lot of the time, just not when the button has kings.
Absolutely. And that's what you got to do. You got to apply pressure. And this one should be pretty clear. Fold to the button who shoves. I don't think that this guy is going to raise 9-7.
Yep. I think, too, though, when you're the big stack and you have a couple times where you raise and it doesn't work out and you get shoved on, it can be easy to psych yourself out and start being results-oriented versus just continuing to apply the pressure that's correct to apply.
Absolutely. Another spot with a cool player. So normally this would be a very clear call with the king jack suited. Here it's close with ICM.
I think it's a call. I think that's a mistake. I know it's suited. Come on. What does he want here?
Look,
kings?
All I can say is it's close. Maybe
no,
not.
it's a call. I stake everything on it. No, not really. I think it's a call. But...
Yeah, I think you're probably right. But what you should definitely do is any format that you play a lot, sit and go MTT, use software like ICMizer, Hold'em Resources. Even the Hold'em Resources free tool will solve shove fold decisions like that. And look them up because some of them are just very unique to the spot, to the payout structure.
Honestly, one of the really fun things about making a final table of a hyper turbo format is getting to then go in and study it after and be like, yeah, I knew I was right. Yeah, that's plus 1% with the payout structure and everything. I think it's really fun.
That's very studious. That's awesome. I love that take on it.
It would probably be even more fun if I was at this final table.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool one.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think here with the big blind? I think the big blind has to fold this ace jack because the problem here is that under the gun is showing a lot of strength compared to a later position shove, and there's a huge ICM penalty.
Yeah.
I think even ace queen off might be a common thing. It's like ace queen suited, ace king off.
I think ace jack off is a significant mistake to call in this ICM intensive scenario. I mean, because also, I don't even know that you can say that this guy has a capped range. I think there's a chance that he's smart, where he's mixing it up enough where it's not. Some players, this would mean like he doesn't have jacks plus or whatever. I still think it'd be a fold with ace jack probably, but I don't think his range is as capped as it is.
I agree.
Because he's playing smart. He looks like old. Sorry.
Yeah, tough to know exactly how to pronounce the name. But either way, you know what? He is a high stakes crusher.
Any way you slice it.
Anyway.
Andre P is probably pretty stressed out at this moment in the tournament. Disconnecting an FT, always fun.
Yeah, now notice his avatar. Scrooge McDuck from DuckTales kissing the money, basically saying, you know what, he's in it for the Benjis, and yet timing out, losing that equity.
Or maybe he's in it for the cartoons.
That could be.
Yes.
That could be.
All right, come on. You've had enough time to think this one through, brah.
He could have like 10 other tables up, and this one just pops up.
No, you know what that one was? That was a sci fold that he had to show everyone that it was a sci fold. That's exactly what that was. Like, oh, God, I can't call. Look how good I am. I know fold ace jack here.
Yes, maybe he knows that people are going to be watching the replay, and he wants people to think that he's... Well, look at this call. Are you seeing this?
What?
So this call is way, way, way too wide. This is not a progressive knockout. No bounty involved.
Wow, and you know what's interesting? Do you think this could be a misclick?
It could, because he snap called, you mean?
Because he snap called, and also it's worse that he snap calls because he was disconnecting, so he could potentially get pushed out of the pot because he just. I think with the disconnection, I honestly, I think that's a misclick.
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
too weird. Or, too, also it's possible that he misclicked more because sometimes the ace four, people are like, oh, I have aces for like a split second. I think it was a misclick.
I mean,
that
right.
would be a terrible, just flat.
He's playing this like a free roll. It's a $500 final table. He's playing it like a free roll.
Well, maybe it really is. He really is Scrooge. So he has that vault with billions of dollars. So he doesn't care. This is like peanuts to him.
That could be. He could just be incredibly rich. You're right. So I agree. I think that is likely to be a misclick. It was way too wide of a call.
Yeah.
I think anything worse than like ace 10 is pretty loose there.
And even that doesn't make sense versus shoving,
Right.
I have zero flatting range in that spot for sure. Even aces, because I don't want them to look as strong. I'm just shoving.
Right.
There's
and
no other play.
You're going to play it so much of your stack, you're just putting in those chips.
Yeah. Especially if I might disconnect.
That's true. So here Watt has to go with it. Obviously, he's going to be hurting a little bit if he loses, but he still has chips to work with.
Yeah.
So I think this is a nice ISO.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm feeling the queen. That queen is coming. Or it's
Where's
not
that?
coming.
Where's that queen?
It didn't appear to have come. And a huge chip lead now for Dante. So interestingly, the effective stack is only about 12 blinds. So he should pretty much just be playing shove or fold here. No other play besides to shove with any pocket pair in the spot.
Yep, that's definitely the way I would be doing it as well. Andre P. We'll see if he decides to just click call for no apparent reason this hand.
He could be feeling the queen 5.
Yeah, that's true. He could be. So we've got a few stacks around 2 million. And then the other two tied above at just under 5. And then, of course, Dante at the lead with 8, roughly.
Yeah, the mid stacks are going to have to really tighten up, particularly calling it off. Now, this is probably a disconnect. I don't know why else you'd be tanking with the 8-6, but your time bank is valuable.
He was tanking because the blinds are going up, and he wants it to be hit all the way around the table, I guess.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's why he was
I like
tanking.
that.
I'm pretty confident on
I
that
like
one,
it.
brah.
I'm not arguing. I think it's a great... Yes. Yes. Pocket 9s now for Watt.
Yeah, that's the kind of edge I feel uncomfortable taking. Is that funny? Like, if I know that it's about to time out, I feel like I know you're totally within your right to let it count down and everything, but I feel like it's slightly, for me, I would feel slightly uncomfortable doing that.
I agree. I think that stalling is kind of an ethical gray area.
Yeah, I would feel kind of guilty about that, so probably just wouldn't do it, and then end up coming in 6th.
No, the poker gods would reward that. Here, Dante is getting right about 2-1 when you factor in this is an all-in for an extra 150,000, and he's would be incorrect to call it anything. AKA was a good fold.
Yeah, I am kind of amused that the high-stakes players here are pretty exclusively, it seems like now, doing non-all-in all-ins. It amuses me considering, like 10 years ago when I started doing that myself and being amused playing like low stakes tournaments, and this is how the big boys are doing it.
Yeah, I remember you were crushing $75 hyper turbo 9-mans on full tilt and making constant all-in.
Those were the days, my friend. Yeah, those were such fun games. Bit softer in those days.
Yeah. Queen 6 suited, definitely a shove here for 9 blinds. So the button can move all in with a wide range, considering he's pressuring mid stacks. I think here that even down to like Jack Deuce suited and Jack 6 or 7 offsuit, he can move all in with.
Do you think it's possible that it's really an any 2 shove with how short Andre is?
Well, I wouldn't go that far personally.
Well, it feels like Gloofsaw 22 is calling pretty correctly and stuff, but I think that, and Wizzo is obviously, the great player we're talking about, but if they were like relative unknowns or players that were at all tightening up too much, I think it very easily could become an any 2 shove situation.
That is a very good point, yes.
But this is probably not one, but like you're saying, any jack, you can shove a very wide range profitably.
Yeah, it feels weird to shove any 2 cards from the button, but you're right, those spots definitely exist, and that could have been one of them. 8-6 suited is a call. He's getting about 3-1 odds. I don't like this shove under the gun. Do you like it?
No, I don't like it. This is an example of a time where, like, I think there's like this pervasive myth that like it's just whatever you do, don't get blinded out. Whatever you do, shove under the gun versus taking the blind. It's just not the most profitable decision a lot of times, and that's a good example. It would have been better to have an any 2 call in the big blind.
Exactly. Because also he already had basically got him blinded out.
Right. It wasn't like he was going to be the chip leader if he won that hand suddenly, too. Yeah. He already has basically gotten blinded out.
Yeah, he's under 3 blinds.
Yeah. It's just kind of screwing yourself over to the max by doing that, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But 9-8 suited, I'm feeling that.
Yeah. Not all in, all in.
He does.
Oh, you go, Watt. Yep.
So normally King Jack offsuit would be an ISO shove here. I would actually fold it in this instance because I'm an it.
I think with the small blind, obviously, I don't think it's crazy to fold. I think it's actually an extremely close spot, possibly the closest spot we've seen.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. It's close. I mean, the problem is that if you do jam that, there's also the possibility one of the blinds will call and the initial raiser will fold, saving himself 1 blind, and you're next to bust.
Yeah, I like this shove because even though he's technically second in chips, he's getting close enough that he's almost tied with the chip leader, and it's just such a strong hand.
Absolutely, and if you min-raise, the button can jam over you.
Yeah.
Whereas he has to call much tighter if you move all in because he doesn't want to bust.
Yeah, that's a good move. I like it. And likewise, I would open shove this.
Exactly. Yes, I totally agree here. Let's see what Dante goes with. He goes for the small raise, though.
A cool player is gonna punish this young man. Oh, he's not going to get the opportunity to, I guess. Well, he still, actually, was not looking at the math closely enough.
I would fold ace-5 off in the big blind.
I would fold too, but it's not a total given. But I mean, I do think a cool player would have 3-bet shoved if the small blind had folded, and that is exactly why you should not be min-raise opening that, in my opinion. You need to open shove in that scenario.
Well said. Well said.
Nobody can argue with that shove.
Absolutely not.
And nobody can call it.
I would be surprised to see a call.
Now that the other guy's left who likes to just call things, our hope for that is diminished greatly.
That is true. He was, a lot of the time though, when people make a misclick call, they type something in like, whoops, misclick, because they don't want to get judged. He didn't type that in.
Well, that's smart. I respect that, because you should not type that in. If you make some egregious mistake, your only chance of benefiting from that is acting like you thought it was a good play, even though it's really hard to do in the moment.
Yeah, the inadvertent advertising play.
Yep. I've definitely had to suck it up and not comment on some errors I've made over the years.
Definitely, me too. So this should be a call with the king-9 suited. It's for about half of his stack. And I think a pretty big mistake to fold there.
I'm really surprised by that fold. I think that was a very profitable call.
We need to tell Gloofsa. We should get him on our next video.
If we keep talking negatively enough about him, we might summon him. No, I mean, I'm sure he's a good player that just, I'm sure every game I play perfectly, No.
Okay, Wizza with pocket kings again. Nobody likely to contest this one.
I like how Wizzo is playing a lot. I think it's very good. I think it's not getting trappy when big hands, just shove. Take the same amount of time you take when you have ace-jack there and shove, Yeah.
Now, this one I would also shove the king-9 suited. It's only for 10 blinds. Funny how the blinds keep on going up in a hyper.
Yeah. That's a real mistake there to not shove, because also you're going to clearly be the chip leader just from taking down the blinds in that spot, and it's just so profitable. That, to me, is a real point of inflection for the tournament. That was a real missed opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. You can have a lot of good opportunities moving forward if you take over the chip lead, and that's what you got to do. Got to stay aggressive.
Yep. Especially in a hyper.
Yeah.
I would go ahead and shove the 3s here.
Definitely.
And I don't think a cool player is going to get much action in this scenario.
Yeah.
I think Wizzo probably would have shoved had it been folded to him.
I think he would have as well.
Yep.
So plays like this, of course, just rely on the fact that usually everybody folds. And when they call, normally you're flipping with overlay.
Right. Not all in again.
Yeah, so the question here is, what is a cool player going to do? And I think he's going to get it all in here.
That's definitely the correct play, I think, to go ahead and call here. But, it shows why the not all in can be so powerful, too, is that it creates additional math. And that's why I've always liked it. It makes it a little bit harder and creates another layer of a potential error for the other player to make in terms of calculating their pot odds.
Yeah. Good shove for the Jack-10. Ace-9 should be shoved here in the small blind. You just do too well against your opponent's range on the button. You got to move all in. So great play by a cool player.
I bet Wizzo is pretty happy with this action.
Yes.
He's the shortest stack, and the second shortest gets it in.
But not happy with that flop.
Not happy with that outcome. No. But now he can go ahead and shove in the small blind. No reason for a cool player to get involved here. But he wanted to make you think he might.
Yes. So this is another very close spot. I think Queen 6 off is actually a call there.
Yeah.
For about 5 blinds.
I guess with what we've seen, we're expecting that Gloofsa is calling tighter than ideal.
Yes. Gloofsa understands that when players bust, he wins money. He likes that. He's not going to argue with this point of fact about tournament poker.
Right. That's a good point. What do you think? I think that's a correct call. give
Absolutely.
him far and away the shortest stack, and it's definitely just a correct call in chip EV. So
Yeah, so he busts, and these guys will play heads up, about 13 blinds effective. And normally heads up, you should play any queen on the button. I would normally min raise this,
yeah,
which he does. And these are actually two decent hands considering they're short stacked heads up. If I were a cool player, I would bet here and be willing to get it in at the flop. And Gloofsa might just move all in. Is that the play you like the best? That's what I like.
Yeah, I like it too because also it takes advantage of his somewhat tight image. Also,
Yeah, now he's got to call it off. He's committed.
you gotta respect how quickly a cool player went with that. It's not the easiest thing to go with mid pair there immediately.
Absolutely. But he was correct to second pair in a raised pot, short stack, heads up. You got to go with.
Yeah, definitely. And now slightly shorter stack poker that they're playing.
Yes. Yeah, they're playing 4 blinds effective. And you can still fold. So 10 deuce off is still a fold here. Suited you would call, offsuit is a fold. There are charts available for this stack. Heads up short stack play at Hold'em Resources. They have a cool table.
What is a cool player? What's going on? Now he knew that was a snap call. Come on. Let's see if the 7's really going to play.
And it does.
Wow. I would be so shocked to win that hand. It's like you never expect the 7 to play when you're in that spot.
Yeah. Kind of an odd time to min raise at 10 blinds.
Yeah.
Generally you would shove or maybe sometimes limp.
Yeah, definitely. It is a bit surprising. Maybe cool players trying to pick up on a perceived weakness of thinking that his opponent is too tight or something, was playing around with it, and also thought that he didn't want to shove that because he doesn't need to. He's probably not playing just perfect poker against him.
Yeah. Generally 7-6 off, I would be shoving on the button for 10 blinds. But you're right. Different styles and different ways you can try to exploit your opponents.
Now here, he's definitely going to go ahead and shove. That's an amazing hand for the scenario. And what do you think with the...
With Gloofsha's 9-6 suited,
Yeah.
I think that's a fold. I think he was correct.
9-8 suited would be a call, though.
Yes. Oh, look at the slow roll. This is brutal.
What? That's ice cold.
A cool player is going into the tangle pocket.
Cool
Why
means-
a cool player? Why?
Cool means literally cold. That is mean.
He time bank calls.
I mean, do you think that that is intentional? Seriously? Because that is nasty, if so. God. Slow rolling with kings.
He
heads
costs a
up.
million. No, I don't think it is. We saw earlier that he used his time bank for some
He's
trivial
probably just
decision.
playing a lot of tables or something.
Either that or some kind of disconnect issue, or
That's not. You give him the benefit of the doubt.
maybe he went to open the door because he ordered pizza.
Right. But do you think Lufsa really thinks that a cool player is so stupid that he didn't know to call with kings? Because it's kind of a funny slur to go with.
That is funny. But this is another one. See, like, he knows to call his king jack. I think
Yeah.
he's doing his thing. And this is it. Unless Gloofsa hits his 5 outs.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, that was well played, I think, by a cool player. I think that was... he made a lot of good decisions. I think he really did play among the best, definitely, at that final table.
Yeah, I think that was a really fun final table, and the rest of the Blowout series is available to watch the final tables on Stars. So don't miss a second of our exclusive content. Click on the blue CardsChat logo in the bottom right corner to subscribe, or the red subscribe button below the video. Thanks for watching. This has been Katie and Collin for CardsChat.com.